Hello, my name is Philip Burgess. I'm a 3D design specialist with Advanced Construction Allies. What I am walking you through right now is one of our Malibu projects. This one is pretty cool, particularly because of all the different design elements that you can see in it. One of the reasons we do the LiDAR scan, we start every project with the LiDAR scan, by the way, is because we're able to access things like dimensions, all of the walls, doors, windows, openings, all those things that are critical to understanding the existing conditions of a project before the renovation, we're able to pretty much see. And I think that also for contractors, it's cool because they don't have to go back and forth to the project site. And it's just more convenient for everybody involved. All the areas of the project are shown initially here, and we have them to go back to as a reference whenever we create your design. So once we complete our scan, we move into the next phase of the project, which is putting together the scope of work. The scope of work is basically everything that the homeowner asks for, all the different actions that the contractor is going to have to take to fully bring their vision to life. And the way that we do it is we break it down into 12 steps. So the first of that being planning and design, and that consists of the initial consultation, the site survey, which is really just the scan, all those different types of things, acquiring the details for your project, design development, BIM model creation, and the permits and approvals. So typically what happens with homeowners is they get into a position where they're working on their project and the permitting process of everything, because of the lack of detail, is either super slowed down or halted completely. Because we put together this BIM model, all of the different things that you'll see throughout the video, we are able to make that process much more smooth and seamless for the homeowner, to where they don't have to worry about going back and revising things and all of these different types of issues that typically occur during the permitting process. From there, we move to the demolition part of the scope of work, which is basically just all of the preliminary actions that have to take place with the existing to reach the proposed, to get you from what you have to what you want. The site protection, the removal of all of the utilities, the debris, all of these factors that play a role in making sure that the demolition is executed correctly are taken care of on our behalf. Once that's done, we go into things like framing, the structural modifications, verifying measurements. All of this basically just protects the accuracy of your project. Um, from there, after we've completed the demolition, the framing, we install doors and windows, and that basically consists of just all the final adjustments, making sure that the swings are correct, everything being aligned the right way. All that is taken care of in the fourth step, so that by the time we get to the fifth, which is plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, we can prep for the system installation and the inspection of everything, the systems and the walls and ceilings, all of the factors that play into making sure that plumbing is executed right. After the doors and windows, after demolition, all of that is put here as well. Insulation and drywall follows next. And then we also follow insulation and drywall with the flooring. So the prep for the flooring, checking the subfloor, the alignment, all of those different factors are put in the scope of work. We're operating at this level of detail so that the homeowner gets to experience not only a seamless process, but to make sure that the existing is prepared correctly so that everything can get done how it's supposed to. After flooring, cabinetry and fixtures follow next. And to prep for that, we have to basically watch all the finishes, all the details, baseboards, crown molding, make sure all that's taken care of. Paints and finishes follow that. That's typically one of the last things that gets put into place. After the paints and finishes, all the surface preparation, after all the trim and detailing, we move from that to the final electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. So that consists of testing the systems, making sure the fixtures are installed correctly. All of that gets handled at this phase of the project. We move from that to final inspections, which is basically checking for code compliance, adjustments, and corrections. All of these things are making it so that the process is seamless. You've already not had to worry about the re altering of your plans and your architectural drawings and having to change things around and correct them for the sake of permitting. That's done. Now we are simply inspecting the final product to make sure that everything was taken care of correctly. After final inspections, we do cleanup and final walkthrough, which is basically just making sure that it's like we were never there. And yeah, I would say from there, we have also other things in place as far as the contractor coordination to make sure that the project is being executed correctly, reviewing milestones, the scope of work, and the documentation package. But all of these steps are what we take in order to make sure that the project is already laid out to be successful from the start. Okay, so now what is being pictured is the 3D model. So now that we have the scan, we've completed the scope of work. Now we have what is basically a digital twin of the homeowner's project. And the cool part about this is that we are able to go from existing, which is what they have, to new construction, which is what they want. And the reason that this is so powerful is because any changes that need to be made in here can be done before you see construction. For example, this specific project, they wanted to modify a sliding door into a larger size. We can play with the placement, we can move it around. They have plumbing, they have all of these other factors that are in the way, but we're able to see them and take care of them before we get to construction and it becomes a real issue. As you can see here, the selection of different items also shows their elevation from the level, their height, all of those different details that are needed. And this then goes into the existing versus proposed, which will make it easier for the homeowner and contractors to see, like I said, what they have versus what they want. Okay, so now that the existing versus proposed is completed, we then take those same images and put them into a visual scope of work. This is great because it has a more visual collection of all the imagery that's going to be needed for all of the actions you have to take to complete your renovation. And this is honestly just a simple way of giving the contractor a little bit more of visual exploration into what you want to do. So now that the existing versus proposed and all that is done, the visual scope of work is done, it's out of the way, we move on to the architectural pages. This is perfect also because of the fact that the contractor doesn't really have a specific idea of the actions that they need to take past the visuals until they get here. This is going to break down the dimensions, square footages, details. As you can see here, all of these different things that are basically put in place to make it much more easy for the contractor to know what they have to do as far as maneuvering materials, the overall scale of how they're working, all those different aspects that are so important in a project, we're able to show them here in the architectural pages. And we go into different versions of the pages as well. We show the demolition, we show the proposed, the existing. We also show elevations, 3D views of everything. This was super cool because on this project, they had a lot of changes revolving around the square footage of the floor. We were able to show that. We were able to also show how the sliding door went from a smaller one that was, I believe, 10'3", to a larger one that's around 16 feet. Having those quantifiable details that aren't showing up in the visual scope of work or even in the 3D model are here at a scale that is easy for the contractor to understand and examine. And honestly, it just makes it easier in general to just move the project forward. As I said earlier, here are some of those 3D views, just simply showing what you have versus what you want, as well as some of those architectural actions that we're taking to just make everything a smooth process. Okay, now we're actually getting to one of my favorite parts of every project, which is the schematic design slash concept package. Basically, after the existing versus proposed 3D scan, scope of work, all those things are done, we create a visualization that is still using generic materials, but is much more realistic and also shows the homeowner more things about their project that they weren't able to see before. The level of detail is higher, and it's more accurate to what they would actually be getting in construction. This project was really cool because this view that they have looking over their balcony into their garden was a big factor for them. And honestly, one of the main reasons that they decided to make the renovations and alterations that they did. So being able to show them this was really cool. And it was also very effective for the homeowner being able to see a dream that they had come to life. And we got to do that with this view. We got to do that with a wider view that showcased more of the architectural details around the door. We also got to show some more areas of the pergola, more on their deck, and it just gave a more comprehensive visualization on what they wanted done. This was also really cool because for the contractor, now they can see, okay, they want these windows, they want the tiling, they want the pergola, they want the sliding doors. All of these aspects are now stamped and they're put at the end of the project where both the homeowner and contractor can fully understand what it is that they're getting. And that makes for easy cost estimation and a much more seamless process.